Great. Good evening. I'm Casey Hatchett, co-chair of the Brookline Commission for Women, and on behalf of the Commission, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 21st Annual Women Who Inspire Us Awards Ceremony. Each year, the Brookline Commission for Women sponsors this event in March in celebration of National Women's History Month. We thank all of you for joining us this evening to acknowledge the amazing women we have here in our own community. Tonight, the Commission recognizes 9 students from the 5th, 6th, and 7th grades in Brookline for heartfelt essays about a woman who inspires them. These students and the many others who submitted essays into the contest have been blessed with strong and courageous and motivating women in their lives. And tonight we celebrate those women and the impact that they're making on the lives of these students and many others. This evening we will also honor the 2013 Woman of the Year, Rita McNally, for her leadership and hard work to promote cultural, racial, economic diversity and equality in Brookline. The Brookline Commission for Women is thrilled to honor Rita this evening, as well as recognize some amazing women who were also nominated this year, and one remarkable woman who is no longer with us. So who is the Brookline Commission for Women? The Brookline Commission for Women has 11 members who are appointed by the Board of Selectmen. We are tasked with serving as the town's centralizing force in addressing women's issues. The Commission provides information, referrals, guidance on women's issues, and sponsors programs and initiatives that support and promote women in the community. Some of our signature programs include this event, our annual Dress for Success clothing drive, our children's clothing drive, the We Can programs for female entrepreneurs, and a variety of programs we hold each year on various topics such as health and fiscal management. In April, we are hosting our first forum on childcare and the various options families have available to them. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge some of the many town representatives we have joining us this evening. We have members of the Board of Selectmen, members of the school committee, as well as Chair Alan Morse, District Attorney Mike Morrissey, Police Chief Daniel O'Leary, Town Administrator Mel Kleckner, Dr. Alan Balson from the Health Department, Stephen Bressler from the Human Relations Youth Resource Commission, and I'm sure I'm missing some others out there, so forgive me. We also have many representatives of some of our town's agencies, boards, and commissions, members of town meeting, and many of the teachers of our young essayists who are here this evening. I'd also like to acknowledge some of our past Women of the Year who are in attendance tonight. We have Pat Norling, Susan Howard, and Chobi Hoy. And again, I apologize if I'm missing anyone else in the audience. We have a wonderfully packed room this evening. The work of the Brookline Commission for Women is not able to be done without the efforts of my fellow commissioners, and I'd like to introduce them. We have my co-chair, Chris Chaniel-Selkett, our secretary, Alberta Lipson, our treasurer, Amy Tallarico, could not join us this evening, Eliza Blanchard, Beth Fagan, Beth Jones, Cheryl Snyder, Dr. Gloria Rudish, Jamie Tober, and Kristen Eckerman. I'd now like to take a minute to remember the woman who started this all, Estelle Cass. Estelle, whose beautiful voice you heard while filing into the hall this evening, was the founder and first chair of the Brookline Commission for Women. She was also a longtime community activist in Brookline and pioneer for women. She was a Brookline select woman and served for decades as a town meeting member, as well as serving on the advisory committee and the Brookline PAC's board. She was a distinguished jazz song stylist, performing jazz with jazz bands in Boston and as a regular with the Winokur Brothers. In January, the Brookline Commission for Women honored Estelle for her service to the town of Brookline and her longtime commitment to improving the quality of life for women in our community. We had hoped that Estelle could have joined us this evening to be recognized, but sadly she lost her battle with cancer on February 7th. Tonight, the Brookline Commission for Women, along with many of you, remember Estelle for her leadership, vision, and service to the community. We are honored to be joined by members of Estelle's family, Freda Cole, Margie Serrano, and Janet Hoffman, and we thank you for being here to celebrate Estelle's life. I would now like to introduce Bobby Allen, who will be our evening's MC, a longtime supporter of the Brookline Commission for Women, who's been hosting this event for us for almost 10 years now. Bobby?
Great job, Casey. Casey Hatchett does a wonderful job for the commission. A round of applause for Casey. This is actually the first time I've been here where Casey wasn't pregnant, so congratulations, I think. And let's knock on wood for your sake, Casey. So welcome to the town of Brookline's annual St. Patrick's Day breakfast, where we jam way too many people on a hot room. But before we get started, you know, I think it's wonderful that we have all 4 members of the Board of Selectmen. Right now we have a vacancy in the Board of Selectmen, which I believe the candidate Neil Wyszynski's going to walk into. But I see Ken Goldstein and Dick Benka and Nancy Daly and Betsy DeWitt here, and I think it's appropriate for Betsy to come up as chairwoman to welcome everybody to this room and to this town.
Thank you, and I have to say I am moved to be here in honor of Estelle, whose vision to found and chair the Commission for Women has left us such a wonderful legacy. I'm delighted that everyone has come today to honor the essay contest winners, and I am even more delighted to be able to be here when RITA McNally is recognized as the Woman of the Year. We are all part of this wonderful community that has great value for all of the folks who live here, the young, the old, and I have to say it's important to recognize that it's not just young folks, but some of the folks who continue on, and Rita is a prime example of somebody who never quits, never gives up, and has as much energy, I'm sure, as a lot of 13-year-olds. So I'm just very pleased that everyone is here, and I think it's a wonderful event, and it is truly inspirational, and I hope we all go away feeling uplifted at the end. Thank you.
So we're not just here for you, Rita. You know, there's some essays. There's some wonderfully talented kids we have in this town, and you know, we did throw out some free food just in case, just to ensure people were going to show up, Rita. You heard Casey introduce her co-chair. I'd love to bring Chris up here to talk a little bit about the essay contest.
Thank you. So every year, and this is our 21st year, we do a Women Who Inspire Us essays, where children from all across the Brookline schools write about a woman who inspires them. And it's a wonderful exercise in celebrating the woman who makes a difference in their lives for March, which is National Women's History Month. So it's very hard because we get hundreds of essays from 5th, 6th, and 7th graders all across Brookline. And all of my fellow sister commissioners, we sit together for a very lovely morning, a long morning because there are hundreds of essays. And we read each and every one of them many, many times. And I have to say, it's probably one of the biggest highlights of being a commissioner on the Brookline Commission for Women. So thank you to our selectmen for appointing us. We really enjoy it. We get to read these essays, and they're sweet, funny, adorable, inspiring, and there's lots of tears. We have lots of tissues because some of them are so heartfelt that they bring tears to our eyes, and others are so hilarious that you can't help but laugh and cry at the same time. I wanted to thank all of the teachers in our schools who support the essay contest and who are there to mentor the students as they write their essays, and the families that are involved with the students. Also, many thanks to all the students who write in their essays. So I hope you will enjoy this wonderful reading of our essay contest winners for the first, second, and third prize. Now, not only do they get these beautiful, lovely trophies and certificates, but there are some very generous gift certificates to the Brookline Booksmith as well for each of our winners. So many thanks to the Brookline Booksmith. And also, after each essay is read, Bobby will call out the woman who inspired the essay. So I hope that this woman will stand, and if you see her afterwards, please congratulate her for what difference she has made in these different, lives. And you can also point them out because they'll be holding a beautiful single-stemmed purple rose from Albert's Florist. So thank you.
So we usually start with the fifth graders, and the award goes to the third place, second place, and then finally the top contestant. They're all wonderful. It's always tough to break it down into third, second, first, but you have to do it some way. Every time Casey asks me to do this, and I love doing it, and I'm more than willing to stand in front of a microphone for those of you that don't know me already. But you know, I'm a product of Brookline schools, and as much as I love the diversity, I grew up with Fitzy and Sully and Murph. So some of these names, I apologize in advance because I struggle every time Casey, I'm like, you gotta give me a pronunciation on that. With that in mind, we'll start with the fifth grade. Sanam Ayub Khan, whose teacher is Miss Klausner, and is a student at Pierce School. I'll ask you to stand up at the mic here. You can adjust it. Tell me how bad I did on your name.
Stand up.
Here, I can put this down for you.
Okay, thanks.
I can put this down too, okay? There you go.
I smile as waves of excitement and laughter flow through my head. My sister Syra and I are best friends. The fact that she's 10 inches taller and 8 years older than me doesn't stop us from spending all our free time together. Since August 31st, 1994, my family has been bright, happy, and joyful. On lazy, relaxing days, she fills my imagination with stories from her adventures to Curacao, Croatia, Sri Lanka, France, Italy, Belgium, and many more places. Together, we sing and dance to Bollywood and Disney songs. Our brother Samir is a proud 16-year-old, is always smiling with us. He also realizes how lucky we are to have a sister like this. She speaks English, Dutch, our mom is from the Netherlands, and Spanish. In her middle school and high school career, she played basketball and volleyball. She plays guitar and was in a small band with her friend called Yesterday's Feelings. They performed many songs together. Now in her last year of high school, she is determined to help the environment in any way she possibly can. She is inspired by her mom, a wonderful, intelligent woman. Every night, she raves about a new website, Pinterest. She cooks using recipes from there and paints new designs, but her favorite section is arts and crafts. Every day, new projects appear around the house, ranging from colorful bottles to delicious soups. Already so informed about the world, she still wants to visit Indonesia, Kenya, Nicaragua, and even more exciting places. Her hobbies include photography, singing, and reading about the environment. Syra is someone I look up to and want to be like, because her creativity is something I truly believe can change the world. Her open mind to people, the environment, and animals makes her a remarkable person, and everybody that she comes across, I know, will remember her forever.
Great job. Syra, you're here, right? Stand up and acknowledge. You even get a flower, Syra. Isn't that great? How wonderful is it for somebody to actually write about their sister? I think that might have been, I've been doing this a long time, and I don't remember somebody writing about their sister. My daughter Layla came with me tonight. You remember that, how she wrote about her sister? I think that's incredible. You know what we have to do? We have the chairman of the school committee here, Alan Morse. I see him back there, and you know, you never like anybody, politician, to leave here without at least getting one whack. I'm wondering how many kids are part of this enrichment program and really benefit from it. Just make sure your parents talk to Alan Morse on the way out. An important part of our schools. Sorry, Alan, I have the microphone, and you don't. Yarden Hokahan, Pierce School, Miss Klausner, talking about Linda Baker. Yarden? Yardan. Yardan? Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. I forget how tall I am. Is that good?
Yeah. My fourth grade teacher, Miss Baker, taught me many things beyond her curriculum. She was born on October 29th in 1950. She was raised in Northeast Philadelphia. One day, about 50 years ago, a little girl went home and told her mom that she wanted to be a teacher. Back then, no one in her family had gone to college, so her mom told her to think of being something else, like a secretary. So Linda listened to her mother and became a secretary, but when her kids were born, she volunteered at their school, and the principal and even some teachers told her she should be a teacher. So she did, and she has loved every minute since. She has been teaching at Wyncote Elementary for 20 years. She is now a grandmother to Penelope, who was born in September of 2011. She says, "I think my love for children is the most important reason for becoming a teacher. And I think this is what made her understand us so well, and what gave her the power to be such a great teacher. 4th grade was one of the best years of my life, and I think I will always be that way. We had a lot of fun together, and I made memories that I will treasure for the rest of my life. This woman inspires me because she wanted to do something that no one in her family had ever done. She inspires me because she taught me more than math, science, and language arts. She taught me that learning can be fun, and that you should always pursue your dreams. She reminds me that some days are harder than others, but when you believe in something and you work hard for it, you can almost always succeed."
And then smile for the camera. Linda Baker, time to stand up. Oh, she's not here. Well, let me just say this. I think we all know that teachers are our hardest working part of any community, and I love it every year to hear how many kids write about their teacher, and you hear a constant reoccurring theme that teachers, no matter what grade, this is 5th grade, no matter what grade, has such a lasting impact on kids. I mean, probably all of us in the room, I know I can rattle off every teacher I ever had, and something about them, which is remarkable considering I couldn't tell you the people I met today. So it's great to hear so many kids talk about their school teacher and the importance of them. Caroline Clark, Miss Finnegan's the teacher, and Diane McAvoy she's here to speak about. Come on, Caroline, I know I got your name right.
The woman that inspires me the most would be my best friend's mom, Mrs. McAvoy. She inspires me because her son that is now 5 years old was born with Down syndrome, which means that he has one less cell in his body that makes him look different from the others. Miss McAvoy inspires me because she takes him almost everywhere, and he is the cutest little boy. And she helps out with CCD at my church. I also help out with her when she brings her son with her to church and while she's teaching. Mrs. McAvoy also helps out with the children's choir on Saturday mornings. She inspires me because she is very funny and always makes me laugh. Whenever something is wrong, she is there to help. To me, she has really become a part of my family. Every holiday, she would be very happy to give out little goodie bags to everyone, just to see a smile on everyone's face. Sometimes we would help anybody whose parents haven't picked them up yet and call their parents' phone to make sure everyone is safe in our community. In our church, we have a boy in the 6th grade. He has spina bifida and is not able to walk. Mrs. McAvoy and I always love to help out and talk to him even though he mumbles his words. He is the sweetest boy ever and is in better shape. During church there is children's liturgy, and that is when all the children go downstairs and listen to a children's story from the Bible, then more in an adult version. Mrs. McAvoy and I always take him up and down the elevator. She loves to help out with anything and be very sweet and kind to all of the children that have any disabilities that aren't able to walk, talk, or even move. She has a very nice kids, and one of them is with the Down syndrome, and she still can do everything with her kids, but still do outside activities. She is so amazing that she can multitask and take care of her children at the same time as doing something else. For example, she usually sings and makes sure her children aren't running away. Mrs. McAvoy and her family are very much like mine. They both go to choir on Saturdays and always help out in the church. That is the woman that inspires me the most.
How great was that? That's incredible, Caroline. Is Miss McAvoy here? Yes. Oh, Miss McAvoy, superwoman right there. Incredible. Diane, that had to be tremendous. Caroline, where's your parents? Right here? Incredible. What an incredible girl you had. That's Diane. It's incredible that you go about your life and your everyday business and hear the impact that you've had on this little girl and forever will change her. So Caroline, good for you, and God bless you and your kids, Diane. We'll move to the 6th grade. We have 3, all from Heath School. How about that? The first one is Brandon Chin, whose teacher is Miss Panburn, and the inspiring woman is Stephanie Chin. Oh, let me help you with the mic. Sorry. I have one thing to remember to do.
Stephanie Chin, my inspirational sister. Stephanie Chin and I are very close. I respect her a lot. She helps me with work I have trouble with, does well in school, works hard, and does community service. To me, Stephanie is a truly talented person, and she means a lot to me. To begin with, Stephanie really inspires me in my schoolwork. When Stephanie was my age, she would excel and do great on report cards. She got high honors for all 4 quarters in 6th grade. That success inspires me to get high honors for all of 6th grade too. In addition, Stephanie received the Outstanding Citizen Award when she graduated Heath School, which I admire. Stephanie is also doing great with her instruments. She is studying advanced pieces of music with her teacher and looks forward to audition for Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra. Also, Stephanie worked and helped at Boston Symphony Orchestra. For Kung Fu, Stephanie is almost a black belt. She's good at Kung Fu and helps with Kung Fu sequences. Stephanie will even help me with Kung Fu, which I'm grateful for. When I do my daily activities, I think of my sister because we do similar activities. I have school, I do Kung Fu, and I play cello. Stephanie goes to school, does Kung Fu, and plays violin. Stephanie is better at those 3 things, which makes me determined to be as good as her someday. Also, Stephanie will give me great advice to help me with my work. For example, Stephanie says hard work pays off. Everything I do, I always hear my sister's advice to help me do my best. When I follow Stephanie's advice, it really does help me because when I work hard, my hard work pays off and I'm proud of what I can accomplish. But as successful as Stephanie is, she never boasts. Stephanie will never brag about her accomplishments. She stays humble. I appreciate that about Stephanie too. I see Stephanie as my role model. She reminds me to do my very best and helps me excel in my daily activities. Stephanie's accomplishments make me want to do as good as her someday, if not better. Stephanie is a great sister, and I know that I can always count on her. She's always there for me.
We obviously have a reoccurring sister theme. Where is Stephanie? Stand up. Congratulations. That's great. Once again, Alan Morse, do you hear the importance of the arts and music in our school systems? Do you hear this? There'll be more, Alan, don't you worry. It's wonderful. If my kids knew any martial arts, I'd be in serious trouble. They wouldn't be using it for the better good, I'm sure. Right, Layla? Elena Trevithick from the Heath School, Miss Panburn again, to talk about her inspiring woman. Elena.
The woman that inspires me is my sister, Harlan Trevithick. She does so much to help the community, and at the same time, she follows her passion of working with kids. Harlan works at Row, New York. It is a community of 13-year-old girls that row, compete, and work on academics together after school. It is an inspiring that Harlan found a job that she really enjoys that both helps her get the things she needs and allows her to help her community. Another thing that inspires me is that throughout Harlan's job, she has learned so much about kids. Specifically, she has learned that every kid has the potential to do things in the world and has a choice to be the best they can be. Because of that, I know that other kids and I can do things that grown-ups can do. Even though we may be younger, we can still make a difference in the world by helping others in need and teaching them leadership, responsibility, and other life skills. Harlan does a lot of volunteer work for her job. She takes the girls she coaches on field trips, helps them find their strengths, and teaches them not to give up. This inspires me because I now know not to give up on myself and that I must keep trying to find my passion. Harlan found a job through her experience coaching and teaching kids in the past. Harlan was captain of many of her sports teams, and through that she realized she liked being a leader. Working in a law firm has also helped Harlan with her organizational skills. Overall, Harlan has inspired me to try harder, and when I grow up, I would like to be just like her. The first thing I try when I grow up may not be what I really want to do, but if I keep looking, follow my passion, and help the community, I know I will find something that I love. From looking at Harlan's example, I truly believe that kids can change the world if they keep trying to pursue their dreams.
Harlan, stand up. Let us clap for you. She's not here? Ah, doing good, I'm sure. That's great. I love this reoccurring sibling theme. I think it's incredible. Nice job. I think your sister will be very proud of you. Ah, for those people that can't be here like your sister, BAT is filming this, and you'll be able to find out when they're going to be replaying it. So set your VCRs or whatever you need to do. The other thing that I've noticed that I've heard here today that I don't usually hear is the community service aspect of it, and everybody talking about the importance of community service. I've always believed, I think I got involved first time in town meeting when I was 19 years old, when people were like, what are you thinking about getting involved? And you stay with something and you really can make an impact. And you know, these kids that you're hearing here tonight, forget the current group of selectmen. This is the future of our town, and it's so good to hear that we're in such good hands with these talented kids who are thinking so much differently than what I thought about when I was in 5th grade or 4th grade or 6th grade. It's really incredible. Who did I just have up here? Elena, right. Sometimes I go into my own head sometimes and I just forget where I am. Lavinia Gosling is a Heath School student, and she would like to talk about her inspiring woman. Where is Lavinia? Oh, right up front. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry about that.
A woman who inspires me is my grandmother, Edith Sachs. She inspires me because she is a brave and very considerate woman. She is 77 years old and lives in Bielefeld, Germany. My grandmother is brave. On several occasions, she had to rebuild her life from scratch and always persevered because of hard work and a positive attitude. Edith was born in East Prussia in 1935. At that time, this area, which now belongs to Poland, was the easternmost part of Germany. A few months before the end of World War II, with the Russian troops only a few miles away, Edith, her mom, and her 2 younger sisters left home on a cargo train and found themselves many miles to the west, in a small, poor farming village. Life there was difficult, mostly because of lack of food. When Edith's father returned from the war 2 years later, things improved, and eventually her family was able to move to a small city. After the war, Germany was divided among the Allied forces, the United States, Britain, France, and the Soviet Union. The city where Edith lived, Wittenberg, was now located in the Soviet sector. Initially, life there was tolerable. Edith was able to go to school and learn a trade afterwards. Over time, however, it became clear that the Soviet sector was going to be very different from all the other sectors in post-war Germany. Travel restrictions were put into place, and political pressure was slowly mounting for everyone to join the only approved political party. When Edith was repeatedly approached to join the People's Army in the German Democratic Republic, as East Germany was now called, she decided she had to make another move. In 1953, when she was just 18 years old, she boarded a train to East Berlin. At that time, Berlin was not divided just like the rest of Germany, but there was no wall yet. All by herself, and with only her sisters knowing where she was, she crossed into West Berlin and from there found her way to West Germany. Although life there was not easy at first, she was now free from any political oppression and able to build her own life. My grandmother inspires me because she stood up for her beliefs, and it must be very hard to build a new life with few resources and without your family.
Is that you in the front row, Edith? Oh. Edith, is Edith here? Oh, there you are. I thought it was you. I'm sorry, I ruined your picture opportunity. You can take your picture if you want. I'm sorry to interrupt. I think your grandma wanted to take a quick picture. Go back up. I slow everything down, honestly. The good news is Alan Morse is off. I think we still teach history in the school, so I think, for this year anyway. You know what's, Lavinia, you know what's going to be great about that essay? First of all, as clearly written as that was, she spoke that beautifully. And I was watching her, she practically had that memorized. She was barely looking down at it. She had that whole thing memorized. So that was a really good job. That was beautiful. And let me tell you something that I think you'll appreciate. One day, you'll have kids, believe it or not. You know, you're going to blink too fast, and suddenly life's going to pass you by. But that's my aspect. But and someday, you're going to read that to your kids, and they're going to be so happy that you documented your grandmother's life, because they wouldn't have the opportunity to meet her, and you'll be so happy that you have that. I promise you that. Remember that. So that's incredible that you did that about your grandmother. It's beautiful. If we get into the 7th graders now. We have from Lawrence School, we have KJ, Kartik Jayachandran. And that's what I'm sticking to, KJ. And that's your name for today. But he's a cool kid, goes by KJ.
Most of the beautiful things in life come by twos and threes, by dozens and hundreds, plenty of roses, stars, sunsets, rainbows, brothers and sisters, aunts, cousins, comrades, and friends, but only one mother in the whole world, said Kate Douglas Wiggin, and I couldn't agree more. The most inspiring woman to me is my mother, for several reasons. She has taught me to be caring, thoughtful, help me with tons of things, and most importantly, never give up. First, my mom has taught me to be caring, thoughtful, and understanding for many reasons. For example, my mom always wants me to be nice and caring for my brother, because my mom always says when she and my dad die, I will only have my brother left in my immediate family. My mom always helps me when I'm in a pickle. She helps me get out of sticky situations by telling me, think about what you're doing first, which makes me stop, slow down, and prevent me from making bad decisions. My mom taught me never to judge a person by their appearance, but who they are on the inside. These are some ways my mom has taught me to be caring and thoughtful. Secondly, my mom has given me help with tons of things and advice. Pablo Picasso once said, my mother said to me, if you're a soldier, you will become the general. If you're a monk, you will become the pope. Instead, I was a painter and became Picasso. Similarly, my mom pushes me around in a good way. For example, if I have a long-term project or assignment, my mom will make me do it and push me to get it done early so I won't have to worry about it later. My mom also helps me with homework and projects. She basically helps me with everything, even waking me up for school. So if I'm stuck, my mom will help me get through it. She also tries to make me independent. Finally, my mom has inspired me the most by one of her stories she has once told me. When my mom was in college, she had written an essay and gone through several levels of interviews to get her postgraduate degree. Out of the whole country my mother was living in, there were only 25 seats open in that college. My mom was determined to try and get in, and she did. This story that my mom has told me has a moral that I always try and follow. Never give up. These are several reasons that make my mom the most inspiring woman to me.
Right. Is Mom here? All right, stand up, Mom. I looked through that list of things and I listened to all those things he said. I might have to have my wife come talk to you. Don't tell her anything. Don't. Stays within this group, okay? No criticism. Busy woman, you know how it is. Maddie Nagler, Lawrence School, to talk about her inspiring woman. Maddie. How's that, good? Perfect.
The courage that it takes to move past true grief is extremely powerful. Being able to recognize your own sadness and use it as motivation to protect others from the emotions you are feeling is truly miraculous. My grandmother lived her life to the fullest, even after 3 of her children passed away. When my grandma was growing up, she was an only child with a single mother. When my grandma had married my grandpa, they both decided they wanted many children. My grandma's dream of living a more action-filled life became a reality when her first son, Robert, was born. Richard, my grandmother's second child, came shortly after Robert. Stephen was my grandma's third child. Many doctors thought that Stephen would not live past a week, but he outlived their expectations. Unfortunately, his birth illness did not allow him to live past the age of 2. After Stephen's passing, my mother, the first and only girl, was born. Robert and Richard were both much older than my mom, but this did not stop them from being close to one another. Life went on, and my grandma's children got older. Robert went to a party one night at a house that had not been built to code, though Robert did not know that. Robert, along with 8 other people, were killed that night due to an unsteady porch falling to the ground. Even after this tragic event, the circle of life continued. By this time, Richard had gotten married and had children, and my mother had me. All of Richard's life, he had suffered from depression, and 1 month after I was born, Richard took his own life. Although I was too young to understand what had happened, I now look back and realize how incredibly hard this must have been for my mom, grandpa, and grandma. After all these tragic events, my grandma began to work in a hospital, helping people who felt depressed. She was able to take her own sorrow and use it to help others. I remember when she told me this story. She said that in life, you're often given the choice to stay down or stand up. Being able to stand up in the hardest of times is true strength. She leads by example, and because of this, she continues to inspire me every day.
Maddie's grandma couldn't be here, but I know her mom's here, so why don't you stand up for Grandma, Mom? And Mom, let me tell you something. You have a lot to be proud of. You know, sharing that story, Maddie, was very brave of you. It wasn't easy to do. It wasn't easy to stand up, but I think we all appreciate it, and we really appreciate you stepping up and telling us that. It's a wonderful person you're inspired by. So good lessons in what you said. Thank you. The last, but not least, is Maya Hertz from Pierce School. Miss Yadoff is the teacher, and she's up here to talk about the woman that inspires her. Right up front.
The bell jingles as my brother, grandmother, and I walk into the sweet-smelling bakery. Choose 1 cookie each, my grandma says. As we walk out, we chatter excitedly about our day. My grandmother listens with a smile on her face, holding our hands in hers as we walk home. She always takes care of me. My grandmother, Krishna Kumari Rao, was born in a small village in India on January 14, 1942. I call her Ammama, grandmother in Telugu, the Indian dialect she speaks. She didn't have much of a formal education, but she is one of the smartest people I know. Ammama had an arranged marriage at only 17 and met her new husband on their wedding day. Despite this, she has been a devoted wife and amazingly just celebrated their 50th anniversary. My grandparents moved to the U.S. shortly after getting married, worked hard, and adapted to life in a new country without much money. Despite being born into a male-dominated culture, my grandmother was determined to go to college. In between her job and raising 3 children, she would take classes. With her can-do spirit, she proudly earned her accounting degree. My grandmother dresses in Indian-style clothing, has shoulder-length black hair with a henna tint and a warm smile. Amuma is also somewhat short, but has a confident way of holding herself that makes her seem much taller. She is kind and thinks of others before herself. My grandmother is also an excellent cook. When you walk into her house, the first thing you smell is her mouth-watering Indian dishes, and I want to learn all her recipes one day. When my grandmother retired, she could have done anything, but has chosen to dedicate the rest of her life to helping others. She started a charity called Hope for Humanity in 2004. The money raised goes to helping children in India that don't get as good of an education as they should. My grandmother is amazing and has inspired me throughout my life. As my role model, she is a perfect choice because she is a strong, brave woman, and not many people have accomplished what she has done in her life so far. She is someone that I look up to and has helped me and so many other people in countless ways. I could not ask for a better grandmother.
All right, Grandma, you know the routine. You got to stand up. Atta girl. Talk about standing tall and proud, right? Takes right after her grandmother. That's incredible. Hey, how about one more round of applause for all these students? That's an incredible job. Oh, I'm sorry, Casey. Casey's just pushing me out of the way, I guess. Goodness gracious. So not your turn yet, Rita. Just relax. You're getting all excited up here, and you're twisting your paper around. Just relax. We'll get to you. Goodness. Somebody get Rita a brownie or something. Keep it busy. You know, we're here to honor Estelle, somebody I thought the world of. You know, when I first got elected into office, I would bet money she didn't vote for me, but she wasn't. She wasn't shy about telling me her feelings or what I thought, and then I promise you, until the very last time I saw her, there were hugs and kisses every time I saw her. So I don't know whether I grew on her or eventually she just said, I got to accept this kid after a while. But she was a wonderful person. She meant a lot to me, and we have a little, I think, a perfect tribute for her tonight. We have the perfect pitch. Speaking of perfect tribute, the Brookline High School All-Girls A Cappella Group to perform We Are in honor of Estelle.
Hello, we're Perfect Pitch. We're going to be performing We Are by Sweet Honey Rock, arranged by Fred Metzger. That's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
One more round of applause. Perfect pitch. Great job, girls. More women who inspire us right there. Did you all notice Alan Morse leave before they got up here and say, oh, here he is. I thought, just hiding now, Alan. Is that what it is? Chris, could you come up and talk about, we're going to do something next, Rita. We'll see what's up.
Yes, what we're going to do next is to honor the 2013 Brookline Women of the Year nominees. So I think you can tell from the first part that this is a great honor to be on the Brookline Commission for Women, and it's so much fun. I love it to read all these essays, so I hope you enjoy that. And I think you can see why there was lots of tears of laughter and joy. It's so inspiring. So now we had all these wonderful nomination letters to read, and I, as well as my sister commissioners, are so thankful for all the great work of so many women here in Brookline. So the nominees, it was very hard to choose from, and they're wonderful people. So I just wanted to first talk about two of the women who are here tonight. So if they could both stand, that would be great. The first woman who was also nominated is Pooja Mehta. You could stand, please. Pooja recently co-founded the Greater Point Neighborhood Association and is an active town meeting member and also a longtime public library advocate and supporter. And then also Jean Stringham. Can you please stand? Jean, we honor her for her many years of work in the area of the arts, the environment, and neighborhood vibrancy. In addition to her many years of work on the Brookline Historical Society and the Brookline Green Space Alliance, Jean has also photographed Brookline for 25 years. Thank you. So if you both could come up, we have certificates for you as well. Also, just to tell you a little bit about the other nominees, we have Jamie Chaloff, whose passion for helping kids is insatiable. She founded Dream Far High School Marathon Program, which challenges kids to discover their own personal greatness. Also, Janet Fireman, a member of the Building Commission since the 1980s, who has worked countless hours to help ensure successful public building projects in town, and as chairperson has helped keep the commissions focused on its key mission to engage responsible and responsive contractors and to deliver quality projects of superior value to the citizens of Brookline. Also, the next nominee is Arlene Madison, steward of the Brookline Green Space Alliance and member of the Emerald Necklace Conservancy, whose efforts help bring Olmsted Park and Leverett Pond from disarray to vibrancy. Mary Murphy was also nominated. She's the transportation coordinator for the Brookline Public Schools, who ensures that children get to and from school safely on a daily basis. And then lastly, Cindy Price, Executive Director of the Brookline Community Mental Health Center, who helps people in difficult life circumstances and emotional distress to feel better, to function more effectively, and experience life more fully. So thank you again for everyone who nominated these wonderful women, and also many thanks to all the women out there who are doing great work for our town. We're all very lucky to live in Brookline. Thank
you. Oh, man. God, what a klutz. I'm still wondering how Rita beat out Jean Stringham. There's a recount pending, but the night had to go forward, so Rita, you get the front row for now. Jean, don't worry about it. We'll let you know. If we have to bring all these people back, we'll get more food. So, you know, as co-chair of the Women's Commission, Casey gets the honor to kick things off. Hopefully I'll have a little bit of time to talk about Rita at the end, but let's bring Casey up here. Casey's going to get emotional in case you don't know Casey. Casey has already started crying like this morning, thinking about this event, you know. Come on up, my little emotional one.
Thank you, Bobby. So each year, the Brookline Commission for Women names a Woman of the Year. This woman is one who has made significant impact on the community. Past recipients include domestic violence advocates, early education champions, and directors of local programs for underserved in our community. From this year's deserving nominees, Rita McNally was named our 2013 award winner. The Brookline Commission for Women selected Rita for her work to promote the cultural, racial, and economic diversity and equality in Brookline. A lawyer, retired teacher, and resident of Brookline since 1958, Rita currently works for the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, is interim chair of the Human Relations Youth Resource Commission, is an elected town meeting member, a volunteer with the Community Emergency Response Team, a board member with Brookline PACS, and sits on the Domestic Violence Roundtable, the Jennifer A. Lynch Committee Against Domestic Violence, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration Committee, the Brookline BCAN Advocacy Subcommittee, and is a Brookline Rotarian, to name just a few of her involvements. This, for Rita, at nearly 80, is her idea of retirement. I often describe Rita as the Where's Waldo of Brookline. At every meaningful community event, meeting, or celebration, Rita is there, and not prominently sitting in the front with her heels kicked up, but in the back with her sleeves rolled up. She's the first to arrive and the last to leave, always asking, how can I help and what do you need? Recently, I had the honor to discuss with Rita her many years of service and civic engagement, being involved in the literacy movement in the 1960s, working as a teacher for 25 years, pursuing her law degree in the early 80s at Boston College. Where? New England School. You did go to Boston College when you were getting...
That must have been Jean. She didn't get it. Go back to reading.
Investigating Medicaid fraud at the Attorney General's office, working for the DA's office in the Education and Community Outreach Department, researching the abolitionist movement, and so on. She talked about her travels to Romania with her 4 children in tow, and 3 of them are with us this evening. And she talked about traveling to Greece and all throughout Europe. It was like listening to a historian. She's versed in the arts, religion, politics, and a lifelong student of living. We think about the fabric of community, and we think about Rita as the thread that holds ours together.
Here it comes.
I don't need it. She weaves her way between the various organizations she's a part of, bringing with her knowledge and know-how, and she helps build people up and build community along the way. I feel very fortunate to have worked with Rita for over 10 years now, and she is just like one of our commissioners. She comes to every one of our meetings, every one of our events. She's there to help, there to support us, and we're so grateful to be able to honor her this year. I'd like to invite Selectwoman Nancy Daly, who did nominate Rita, to please come forward and say a few words.
Well, thank you. When Chris Chanya-Sulkett told me you were looking for nominations, it took me about 2 seconds to say, well, what about Rita? I think I met Rita years ago when I was first became a town meeting member, and she was learning how to play the Irish whistle. And but over the years, I would gradually learn that, as you just heard, all the committees she's on, and that wasn't even the full list. And it was, you know, I'd be kind of astonished. Wait a minute, she's on that one too, and she's chairman of this one, and so on. And as Casey just said, she is a worker. She rolls up her sleeves and works on all these committees, not just talks about things. So I was delighted that you chose her, and I think it's a excellent choice on your part. Congratulations, Rita.
Thank you.
A brief politician. Congratulations, Nancy. So isn't it funny? Casey gets up here and she's getting emotional, and Rita's like, "No, that's not right." I mean, she just can't check it. She's just there's no switch there. You know, it's like no matter what. On a Wednesday, we have a meeting Tuesday night. On Wednesday, she'd call me up and say, "You were wrong about that, and you were wrong about that, and you were wrong about that." And there was no way. It's finally you just say, "Okay." You try to defend your position, but you can't do it. We're going to bring up Rita's boss right now, but before we do, I think it's hysterical. You know, I'm a fan of Seinfeld, and it's I think Rita working there is like a Seinfeld. All these DAs come and go. They're like, "Who's that lady in the corner over there?" They're like, "I don't know. She got here when I was here, and we just kind of leave her alone." I honestly have no idea if she gets a paycheck. I know she's got an office, and you know she shows up there every day. But it's tremendous, and she does great work, and she is the biggest advocate of whoever sits in that office. And right now, the man who sits in the office does a wonderful job for this community and for Norfolk County. Mike Morrissey, come on up here, Mike.
Thank you, Barbie. He's partially right that you kind of inherit Rita. Anyone who would get rid of her would be a fool. But you know, I did finally have to ask her at one point. You know, after running around, I was dead tired and running around town with Rita. I said, "How old are you, Rita?" And she said, "Of course, none of your business." And then finally, she's, look at this way. She's the oldest person in the district attorney's office, and she works harder than the youngest person. I'll give you that. And I'm very fortunate to have her. And just I see this bumper sticker. I show up at work most days, and I see this bumper sticker in the parking lot, and it says, "Well-behaved women really make history." And so, I said, if Rita drove it, had to be her car, but we know it's not Rita. So, for those of you who have got her around town, but somehow she manages to get around town very well. You talk about being paid, Bobby. I had a call Rita, and I told some of the people that I was going over tonight that you were honoring Rita, and this is actually quite a collection of the Brookline community. I told Rita she's in great company tonight with the children and the singers and the people that you actually honor here, that it really is a great community to live in because of the people who live here. I happen to work with one of the better people, and which I'm most grateful for, because she has kept me in the straight and narrow. And we wanted to thank Casey for the mugshot. We did have, since we have some graphic people in the office, some people wanted to know what Rita looked like, so we did have a picture, and the article framed up Rita. So this is actually a police mugshot that they took. You know, and I can only, lucky I'm the DA now, not in the 60s, because all I can imagine is that I'll be locking Rita up, not working. And someone said, I work for Rita, and most of you know what that means. And they say that you work for me, that would be an understatement. That everybody works either with or for Rita. You know, she doesn't work for you. And so I'm happy to be here on behalf of my colleagues in the district attorney's office, and over the years, that we brought a little citation to Rita, because you've been so helpful to the people in the district attorney's office. Some people heard the word and said, "You better give her something from the office besides that mugshot." So I'm happy to say that I hope you stay longer. And the story about pay, Bobby, she does get paid. I had her call her at Christmas time and said, "Listen, Rita," I said, "I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to call anybody, but there's a small increase in your paycheck. And so why don't you do something, you know, like nice, maybe go see your daughter, you know." And so I'm sure she probably gave it away, and she thought that was something nice. And so her children know what that's like. But when Rita says something, you know, you listen, because she really has the pulse of the community. And it's a pleasure to be here with all of you and some of our colleagues who worked with us so long. It's a great tribute to a wonderful person.
Thank you, Mike. That's wonderful of you to say. Isn't this nice, Rita? All of us here gathering. You know, for the kids out there that we just honored, trust me, there's nothing more boring than listening to politicians speak. We get that all, but if you listen in between, this is really a remarkable person that has done a lot of good things. You know, you talk about the people that inspire you, donating time. Rita is one of those people that is always out there. She is always hounding you about issues that are important to her. And all the issues that are important to her are usually by people that don't have the voices to do it themselves. So she fights the fight for all these people, and she's really incredible. And she's always somebody I admired. I feel like I've known you since birth, Rita. For some reason, you've been in my life. I remember Brian Connery when he served with you on the school committee, saying, "Man, this Rita McNally's driving me nuts." I remember being a little kid, and I just remember this Rita McNally. I'm like, oh gosh, I never have to deal with that woman. Sure enough, life is wicked, isn't it, Rita? So with that, speaking of locking up Rita, let's bring up the police chief. He always has something fun to say. Danny O'Leary, our police chief.
Rita, that's how I remember you in the basement of the police station the first day that I met you. Really, before I just say a couple of words about Rita, the essays that I heard tonight were fabulous. I tell you, just sitting and listening and seeing what you took to write, seeing the people that you chose to honor, everybody should learn a real valuable lesson from what they heard here tonight, and I hope you continue to take that with you, not only through your time at Brookline High School, but through your lives. It was fantastic to hear, so congratulations. But Rita, you know, I think when we first met, it was about 20 years ago, and I don't know if you even are aware of what you did for us as a police department, and it's all good, but if you remember back in around 1995, we tried to take a turn and we tried to open up the police department. We try to make it a lot more transparent. We try to meet a lot more people. We try to make it a lot more responsive to the community. And in order to do that, we actually had to reach out and meet some people, and we had to ask them their advice. And one of the first persons that I met was Rita. And Rita, as you've heard already tonight, holds back no punches. She'll tell you when you're doing good. She'll tell you when you're doing bad. And I think that's really the way it should be. And she is a great advocate for the DA's office. But she sat on a couple of committees that has really helped the police department. And one of them is the Jennifer A. Lynch committee. That's a committee that fights domestic violence, that speaks out for the victims of domestic violence. And every time that there's an event for Jennifer A. Lynch committee, Rita is there. Rita is speaking on victims' behalf. She always grabs me after the meetings to throw a little word of advice in, and it's always good stuff. But another committee that she sits on, and she's right now the interim chairperson of it, is the Human Relations Commission. And that is a commission that sticks up for an awful lot of people. And I have been the recipient of some gracious remarks from Rita and some not so gracious remarks from Rita when things haven't been going as good as they should be. But like I said earlier in my talk, if you can't be honest with each other, if you can't have Rita speak her mind and not have that switch to shut off, you're really not going to get to the right place. And I think Rita's all about getting to the right place. And it's an honor for me to be asked to say a couple of remarks. It's an honor to know you, and you're going to be around for a long time, so congratulations.
Wow, that was a nice police chief, huh? That's all recorded. That's like a get out of jail free card and a kiss. Holy cow. That's tremendous. Rita, always gracious. That's what I wrote down. All right. Had never prosecuted. So, Rita, we also have, no politician can, hey, we're doing something for Rita. So we've got from Senator Warren, we have a wonderful citation that essentially says, whereas, now therefore, Rita's a tremendous person. And Cindy Cream, not to be outdone, who, I don't see her here tonight or anything, but she also sent in a citation in your honor. So that's two wonderful things, and I'm sure they would love to be here to honor you, but obviously they have other engagements. Rita, can I get you to come up here right now? Come on up here, sweetie. Rita McNally, 2013 Woman of the Year. Give me a hug. We get to...
Thank you, Bobby.
My life, right there.
I so love seeing all of you. I see my daughter next to Dick Bentham. I see Kevin there, Bo Winokur, George Schur, Michael, Larry Oney, all of you, one of you, Eliza, the clothes woman. Don't forget the women's clothing gathering. Hi. All of you. Hi, Frank. There's my son-in-law, Bill Spinner, and my daughter, my son, and the Papos sitting there. Hi, Iso Papo, and Brian, and all of you there, and my friends Eunice, and all of you have done such wonderful work along, and I just think that I'm so honored and complimented by it all. And the greatest thing is that I get to sit and listen to what you younger people think and do about the people that inspire you. And as they asked me who inspired me, and I thought back too to a teacher, to a woman that raised me, because my mother was an illegal alien, and she was not there in my first young years. But I'm just so happy and so thrilled, and I see Mark Gray there grinning at me, sitting next to Nancy Daly and Phyllis Giller. I've been in so many town battles with all of you, as well as the goodness. And they have been, you know, and the poor school committee, never mind, Alan. You know, you'll have your day, don't you worry. You do what you have to do for the greatest good, don't you? And Alan Balsam knows that too. We're just so grateful for all of the good things. My friend Connie Katz here, she was the first person that helped my husband when he ran for school committee. And Bobby, I was never on the school committee. So. I did attend some meetings and I did speak up, but I wasn't on the school committee. But I had an opinion, you better believe that. But I'm just so happy to see all of you, and Jenny and the Spiegels and Edie Bergman. I mean, these are all people, and the people from the Rotary as well. Susan Rack, who's trying to hide for fear I might see her, and Chobi Hoy, and Steve Bressler, and the Human Relations Commission, and I see the Kuchers here. And let's hear it for Hancock Village. We're still here, folks, and we're not going to be crowding the schools. Thank you very much. Anyway, I love you all, and I'm grateful, and the inspiration is a two-way street. It truly is. I really love this group of women. They don't have a budget, and they bring up some of the most elegant, precious programs to present to the community. They need support, so when they put out any kind of a feeler or a request, help them. They're really wonderful, except at taking photographs of me. And I mean it. I mean, I just blended, my head just blended into the police wall. It was amazing. They should have put a number on it so I could have said, yeah, here I am, ready to roll. But thank you so much. I love living in this community. I've been here a long time, and let's see, almost 80, so maybe 20 more years. I haven't gone gaga yet, but you know, you never know. But thank you, and I love my kids. Look at them, they're smiling and laughing at their mother's discomfort. But I did get a kiss from the police chief, so that's very important. I'll treasure that. Thank you very much, and I'm very honored. Thank you very much. I forgot to mention that I really like working for the district attorney office. Bye.
She has gone gaga, by the way. I didn't say anything. Is there anybody she didn't mention in the audience? There's the cameraman in the back there. And stand outside, she'll acknowledge everybody on the way out. More discomfort. Everybody stares at you taking pictures.
We want to see if we can make them as good as the one we
Yeah, that is an awful picture.
Isn't it? Oh, I look bald.
D.A. Morrissey will make sure that has a prominent place in his office. Right, Mr. District Attorney? One more time for Rita McNally. Watch your step there, Rita. That's all we need. Let me thank you all for coming. I'm happy we were able to do this so quickly and have everybody enjoy it. And very fitting person in Rita. And leave it to Rita rather than talk about her life. Thank everybody for being involved in her life. Typical Rita. We also have other people to thank. The event sponsors on this, specifically thanks to the Brookline Community Foundation for supporting the program as a co-sponsor, Brookline Booksmith for the gift certificates, Brookline Access Television for covering the event, Don Cybor for donating the homemade baked goods, Star Market, Stop and Shop, and Edible Arrangements for donating healthy food, and Albert Florist for beautiful flowers. If there is any food left in the back there, enjoy it. And thank you all for coming. And to the kids, you did a great job, kids. You should be proud. We have a lot of proud parents here. Thank you so much.
And thank you to Bobby Allen for